Hey, we're here at Rising Fawn Gardens. We're continuing with our virtual wildflower tour. And the flower that I wanted to point out now is the eastern redbud tree. So, eastern redbud trees typically grow on the edges of fields, they grow on the edges of roads. They like to be in places where they can reach out and get at the sunlight. Many of the trees kind of lean at a 45-degree angle, and you can see that this eastern redbud tree has a pretty good lean to it as well. The flowers occur in this kind of pink and white cluster. They're not at the end of a stem the way you find on a lot of other flowers and even flowering trees. Redbuds have their flowers emerge straight out of the stem itself. So the flowers kind of pop out of the woody part of the plant. Redbud trees have a kind of zigzag line to the stick, and it's this brown bark that kind of surfaces in this cross-hatching pattern that you can see on them. It would be easy to confuse it with something like a hickory or a maple or a sarvisberry if it weren't for the leaf. This is a good example because the leaves are just now starting to emerge on this redbud, and you can see that they're heart-shaped and they grow quite large. Each individual leaf will turn into a large heart-shaped brilliantly green leaf later on in the summer when it's out of flower. The flowers are easy to identify first because they occur in these huge clusters all over the tree. You know, you can see it out as sort of like a pink line in the forest at some distance away. But if you get closer and you look at each individual flower, it looks like a shoe wearing a tri-cornered hat. So it has a bottom section to it and a top section to each flower that, like I said, they occur in these clusters. The flower can be consumed. You can wait for it to go to seed and consume it in the seed form. You might grind it and add it to something or add it to some type of warmed cereal, or the flowers can be consumed raw. And a lot of people will use the redbud flowers to make jams or jellies. So you get a redbud flavored jam or jelly. When you consume the flowers raw, they sort of taste like really fresh and sweet lettuce that you might get in the fall after a frost or something like that. The wood can't be seen here. The interior part of the wood, we can't see it that well. But if you cut into a redbud tree, the wood is brilliantly yellow in color, and it retains that yellow color for long after you cut the wood. So it makes interesting spoons and utensils. Very rarely will you find one that's large enough to make something like a bowl out of, but they make really good looking spoons, forks, and knives. All right, thanks for joining us for our video on the redbud tree.